featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCCW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to The Cindy Cochran Show, live on YouTube and in the great Conroe Tower. Yes, we are. But we're live on Facebook and on the radio, 104.5, 106.1. Oh, my word. We're like everywhere. But it's good to have you here live. And we are today going to be just discussing things among ourselves. What a vast amount of knowledge you will walk away with after listening to the show. Maybe. But anyway, I did want to say that I know Great Britain is very sad right now and very upset, Richard, because Queen Elizabeth died, 96 years old. She served over 7 decades as Queen of Great Britain. And now that has come to an end. And in fact, what's weird is that, now Charles will take over. And Charles has a lot of explaining to do. No one really ever asked him the hard questions about him and Camilla and Diana, and I wonder what all that will bring up as well. But right now, it's just everybody's remembering what a great lady the Queen was, her purse and her hats and all of that, I think will always live in infamy. And I think that it's interesting that the crowds that are starting to come, England said they're scared because London said, people will be everywhere and we won't have enough room for everybody to come and pay respects to Queen Elizabeth. But Charles has not spoken yet, and he's supposed to be coming out and speaking immediately so that he can calm the fears of people, like that the realm will go on and in his hands. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, we really don't.
You just put a tweet out.
Well, I don't think we just know that much about Charles.
But who cares?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are very.
I'm talking legally, like.
Legally?
It's not like the country's ruled by a monarchy anymore, so
the
immediate response isn't really as important as you make it sound.
Well, I think it's better that Charles take over than who's the redheaded kid? Merkel.
Harry.
Harry. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
He's not.
He's in line. Sure.
He's
like if something happened to Charles.
And then William.
And William will be. I thought they'd give it to William. I thought he was going to get it, but.
Why wouldn't Charles take it?
Well, I just thought because of the divorce and all that stuff that they may not see Charles as king. Yeah, maybe so. But Harry and his wife, if they became in line, like something happened.
I think that'd be great. The whole world would love that.
Oh, sure they would.
Because she would probably still do her podcast that no one listens to. and people would really care about what she thinks.
Yeah. Then they'd probably be radical. She'd have AOC on her podcast, and
probably.
I can just see those two getting together. And anyway, I just don't think that they would be happy if Harry was eligible at all. I think she disowned him or something. Something happened radically whenever he left and said, well, okay, well, you're not going to ever be king then. And so, I don't know. But I think Charles will be fine as a stand-in. But I just don't think he has.
Fine for what? What are you saying? What is
well, because
position?
The king would have to. they
What?
do have to make some decisions about
Nothing
what goes
critical.
on. Well,
They get the night people. Cool.
I mean, she didn't, but I think that he would have more say, or he could go to.
I mean, I bet there's some backroom dealings because they are, they have so much money and they're involved so much in the country itself just through time. But I don't.
But I don't see them dying out. Do you see them dying out? Like okay, that's enough of that
Well,
stuff.
I think the generations will shift drastically in the next. I would say next 100 years. No one's really going to care unless they make a push for more control in the government.
Right.
But I don't think the royals really are.
Well, I mean,
I really think the royals' popularity is not going to be as it was, say, like Princess Diana. Like I think that was the height
Right, that
of
was.
popularity, and then now it's never going to achieve that. Mainly because technology and information goes every day now, and people really care about Kim Kardashian still. So
True,
it's
true.
kind of like someone's going to replace them.
Well, imagine though. I'm so curious about. I don't know how the line of procession or anything like that goes, but when he married Camilla, did that mean that she would become queen
So that's what I'm saying.
when he becomes king? And I know you don't care, but
Well, it's
I'm
not
just.
that. I mean, I think it's again the position of power is in that there's no real power to it. Now it would be cool to be king, but like whatever. They're not in charge. It's not like Camila. Is it Camila or Kamala?
Camilla. I may be trying to say
Corella?
Deville. No, I think it's Camilla.
I think they should make her.
Or am I
queen.
trying to say-
I think she should be queen. Go for it.
Well, it's just weird because of everybody was so mad and hated her. She was like the most hated woman, I think,
Yeah.
because it felt like she broke up Charles and Diana's marriage. And
Well, I think
so,
Charles broke up Charles and Diana's marriage.
well, yeah, because he was messing around with her.
Yeah, I don't think it was all this other lady. I mean, she was there.
Well,
I mean, if
She
there's
kept-
one, there's
she
more,
went-
if there's one, there's probably more than one.
oh dear. Well, they start coming out of the woodwork now. They's king,
would.
and they say, "I should be queen.
I have your daughter."
I have your son." Yes. That's terrible. I mean, I feel really bad because that lady was really good. She understood
She took
her
the country
place.
through a lot of things.
Yes, and she was always there. She came, she spoke, and she didn't hide from anybody. She was still going out and serving. Even I guess it was the day before when she met the new prime minister. The new prime minister, remember the guy that had the hair was all over, kind of
Yeah,
looked like
Boris.
yeah, Boris. Okay, he's out. So this woman came in to take his place, and
she was there
greeted.
shaking her hand.
Yes.
There you go.
So up to the very last minute, she was handing over, like the power to this woman. She probably was really
fell.
glad. You think she fell?
Oh, what is she, 89?
96.
Nice. Yeah, she definitely fell, and then it was like, the body's like, nope.
I don't know. She always had some.
Well, that's why falling's so dangerous at the age, because the rest of your body can't recover.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the actual fall itself. It's the domino effect of the fall. And then it's like, we don't have the strength to keep all this up.
What?
Her body. That's what happens when
well-
old people fall.
But I think she was in good.
She's
Physical.
93 or whatever you said.
96.
Yeah.
I think
She's in good
physically-
good shape at 96.
I don't know if she's going to run any marathon. I'm just saying that I think that she was out and about. She was so busy.
I mean, my
it was
grandmother
amazing.
went to 105, I think, and she was riding her bike every
Wait.
day. All that kind of crap.
She went to 105? I loved your grandma. She was so cool.
Yeah, and she fell.
Oh, my
And then boom,
goodness.
dead.
Yikes. So she was in her late 90s whenever I met her. When she
No,
came
this
over
is
here?
my great-grandmother.
Oh,
It's different.
oh, okay, yeah. Is your grandmother
She's
still alive?
Taken, yeah. She hasn't fallen yet.
Okay. we got to have her come on. That would be fun to let her go
Oh,
through.
No.
No? Okay. All right, fine. I love to listen to people that have experienced a lot of different things in their life, and especially someone related to you. It would be.
She's one of those people. Like, you ever had conversations with folks who always know somebody and that's kind of like their story time. Is they start talking about 10 different people that we're supposed to know, and she just remembers everybody. And I'm like, man, it's the longest story because half of it's filler. And
You never say that to her, right?
Well, no, I'm talking about with people.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like, let me tell you a story about going to the grocery store, and they talk about every single person they met, and then they do a backstory of every person that they met at the grocery store. So I was like, okay, what does this have to? My dad does the same thing.
That is
My dad
what
does the exact
older
same thing.
people do. There was a movie, and it was Billy Crystal and his dad, and they were driving along, and his dad would read every sign and every 45 miles an hour, and he would read that, and it would just drive Billy Crystal crazy. He said, "Dad, you don't have to read everything that we see." That he did, and that's what older people do. It's a strange thing. I haven't.
Now, do you think that's
done that
older
yet.
people in general, or older people of that generation? Because I feel like it's either going to be a pinnacle moment for me to remember those kind of things. Because, like, I remember people, but I never had that much information about people. Mm-hmm. And
Because you didn't care.
I mean, I guess.
You tell me that all the time, like, I really don't care. Now, my grandchildren are starting to say, Grandma, we don't care. We really don't care. We don't care. You don't have to even finish the story. We don't care. So don't take that energy up and finish the story because we don't care. And I would go like, that's so rude. Why do you want to be so rude? And said, we want to let you know that you don't have to use the energy to tell the
You have
story.
to figure out how to navigate your own conversation. And if you're one of those people, you're one of those people. And I mean, it's not like I interrupt my father all the time. It's like, okay. And then it's like, all right, so I have to sit down. I have to sit down. That's what we're doing. That's the conversation we're having right now. I have to sit down for that. Because I just came in and say hello to you. And
Yeah.
how was your day? And then it became a whole thing. And I was like, dang, all right.
Oh, but that's so, I can't tell you what that's like. Wait till you have children and you bring them up and then you want to tell them something and they go like, Dad,
I'll
don't
just
care.
text it to him.
Quit it. Stop.
I'll just text it to him. Like,
You'll text it to them.
yeah, KK, LOL. There you go.
There you go.
End of the
Yeah.
conversation.
See, because, I mean, do you do that to your wife? Do you kind of,
Well, like the conversation that takes place like that, it usually is around the dinner table. So that's the scenario you have those conversations with. But I'm talking about like any time, like any conversation, it develops into that with certain people. I'm talking about certain people do that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I just wanted to know about the right outlet to plug in the laptop into. That's all I really wanted to know. And at dinner table, I totally get it. You know, it's like that's the whole reason to have a dinner table is to talk. And
I have to tell you that the movie Mother,
weird one.
no, it's Mother with Debbie Reynolds was in it.
Okay.
And
I was like, oh, this newer one. That one's wild. I was like, man, Cindy saw that movie?
no, it's
I love
Mother.
movies like that because it's like, this is a fever dream of somebody. And it's,
Well,
why do I want to know your nightmares?
Well, she took her son he was going to buy a suit. So they're in the place where he's going to buy the suit, and the clerk comes up and she goes, my son's needs a suit, and her son's going, I can tell him, Mom, but you don't know what this is for. He's going to a date. This is like a first date for him, and he can't
I
wait.
said
He doesn't know.
Albert Brooks.
Yes, that was it. And so she starts telling the guy where he's going to go and what he does for a living. And so when the guy walks away, Brooks looks at her and says, Mom, nobody cares. Nobody cares. You got to understand that nobody cares. So don't keep talking to the people because they don't care what I'm doing this for. They just want the money for the suit. And that's all they care about. So let's just keep it at that. And it was so real because I do the very same thing. If we go somewhere, I sit and talk to the person that's there to sell it, and I start telling them about why they want to do what they want to do. And when they leave, my kids say the same thing. Mom, they don't care. Don't talk to them. They don't want you to talk to them. I said, I feel like they did. I feel like they were wanting to know why.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Well, I mean, I think it's, again, how you navigate the conversation, Cindy.
Well, they wouldn't care how I navigate. I always sink the ship, but they don't care. They just don't care. And they say, don't nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore, Grandma. Do you understand that? And I'm
I
like,
think people care.
well, you should
You
care.
gotta respect their time.
Yes, true.
Well,
Now,
I mean,
that's true.
When you're trying to get a suit, and then you go into a 14-minute way to describe why we're getting a suit.
Right.
Is
And that guy could be waiting on somebody else.
No, it's like, does that change the fact that the suit's going to be different?
But now here's the deal. When I go to a restaurant, though, I don't know what it is about my face, my voice, or whatever it is, but the waitress or the waiter wants to tell me all about their day and what they're mad at and stuff. And they come talk. I do not initiate any of. I'm just real nice to them.
That's why I don't like going to restaurants.
Why? Because they talk to you.
It's just the process. It's like, can we just get this to go?
Well,
I told you about that because like my wife hates it when we order and we're done ordering and then the waiter waitress comes back to fill our drinks and ask how the food is. I'm like, oh, it's wonderful. Can I get the check? Even though we just got our food, like we're just now in the middle of eating. And my wife's like, why do you do that? I'm like, because we don't know when they're going to see them again. And I'd rather get it paid and get out of here so we can leave on our time.
instead of that's a good idea. That's why you go to Olive Garden.
No.
And they have that thing, and you
Olive
can
Garden's
pay
the
and
same.
leave. It's all.
Now, if we're having drinks and stuff, I can understand leaving the tab open. But it's like, we're literally just eating dinner here. We ate at Mr. Taco last night. It was very good.
Mr. Taco?
Yeah, I think it's called Mr. Taco.
Mr. Taco? I
It's
know
on
you.
105 heading westbound.
I know you like tacos, and so
Tacos are good.
you drive.
Yeah, we went to Angie's last night. It was closed, and they have the weirdest schedule there. Angie's is one of the best Mexican restaurants here.
So they're just open until
They're open
they
whenever.
sell all the food
Sounds
out.
like there's open whenever they want to be open, but
Well, boy, did we come a long way from Queen Elizabeth dying.
well, let me ask you this: with Queen Elizabeth dying, do you think? And you asked a good question. Do you think people are going to care about this down the generations? Now, I think it also needs to be considered who the person is in charge, whoever king and queen is.
Right.
Because I think Queen Elizabeth II did some remarkable things in her
Yes.
time, so
Yes.
that's why people care.
Right.
But then you're looking at the future people, and it's like we don't really care about Charles because he killed Diana basically. He killed her. He's a murderer. No, I was kidding. And then you have the Harry guy. No one cares about that. And then Prince William. I don't. Does that make sense to you? Like they're not people that have any important role in people's lives anymore. Because Queen Elizabeth had an important role
Well,
in people's lives during
I just I have the feeling that Prince William would take the reins and run with it. I mean, I think that he would step up and do
I
more.
don't think any of them care.
I realize they're restricted.
Williams might, but he actually might do something like be a talking point for progressive things or something, whatever.
Right.
But none of them seem like, besides Harry, but Harry's also left the building from what I understood, so he
Right.
can marry that actress.
Yeah.
lady.
So he
So-
and I don't know. I can't remember if she
I think
did.
he's regretting that now. He's like, man, I should have just stuck around, bit my tongue for 5 more years, and that lady would have been dead.
That's
And
right. But then he'd have to wait for William to die, and
No, I think you get more. I think when the passing of the guard happens, everyone gets kind of bumped up. Everyone gets bumped up a
Yeah.
little bit. So, in importance. So I think he could have taken advantage of it and let his
And
wife and him do projects together. I mean, that's from what I understand. They're more of civil servants now,
right.
right? Like
That's right.
That's
That's right.
basically what they do.
And William has such a heart for service because they've done more things,
And they look
Them
good while
together.
doing it, and they spend crazy amounts of money looking good every day.
They do. No, they do not. I think that they're real sweet. This is a sweet couple, and the people love him. They do like him, and the kids and all that stuff. But I think this is going to be strange because Great Britain always had it in for her, for Camilla. Gotta make sure that's her name because I keep thinking of our vice president.
It's Kamala, right? That's our vice president.
we gotta get the name straight so that I'm
It
not
doesn't matter.
calling her.
Just call her the mistress.
Yeah.
That's probably the
his
title
mistress.
they'll give her. Like they'll
Right, that's
introduce
true.
her as oh, we have the King Charles V, and then it's and his mistress.
And his mistress. They had it's such an interesting why we are so interested in America, but we just don't have that royalty type of thing going on here, and so it's so.
I mean, we did
it's
for a bit with the
fascinating.
Kennedys, right?
It
That's
was
still
kind of like
kind of going on, but not
Yeah.
not as much anymore because I don't even know. Like the only Kennedy I know that they talk about was Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife, right? She was a Kennedy.
right.
That's the only person I know that's like a Kennedy that's alive.
You're right. I'm trying to think. The daughter is alive.
Probably there's probably 10 Kennedys we don't even know. I mean, they're probably running
Yeah.
for office. No
and
idea.
and some of them were in the office, and
yeah,
it was
no idea.
they had put all of the Democrats had put so much of their hope into this Kennedy that was really good looking. He was really good looking, all, and he's doing a speech, and he comes on TV and does a speech, and before he goes on, somebody tells him that your lips look dry. You need to put Carmex or something. Well, they put Vaseline on it, and so his lips are like shining and just overtake his face and everything.
Okay.
And he got so much flack for that. So nobody was listening to what he was saying, but they were
I
watching.
mean, if anyone's trying to get into politics, they can let that stuff slide. They don't. Why is when you have a system that has that much control over you, where they decide we don't like you more because your lips are shiny,
Yes,
then you're not a strong candidate.
but everybody made fun of it, and it weakened him as a candidate for whatever he
Yeah,
was
but then
doing.
you go out publicly. I had Vaseline on my mouth. Like y'all don't have dry lips. Get over it.
It was
I mean,
so
look how
beyond.
that Trump guy just whatever. He's like, what? Okay, whatever.
What Trump guy?
The President Trump, the last president.
Well, no, but I mean,
I mean,
what
he
do you
took
mean?
a lot of flag and he didn't care.
Oh no, he did. That's what
That's
was
what
so
I'm saying,
funny
like,
about him. He didn't care.
That Kennedy guy had the same attitude. He's like, oh, whatever,
Yeah.
I don't care.
He
I'm gonna
couldn't.
do me. I'm gonna make this world a better place.
He couldn't handle it. I don't think. But it was just
Would you
so
really be
funny
that
to me.
embarrassed? Like that was your one shot, and you're like, man, I totally screwed up today. I had Vaseline on my lips. Like you're gonna let
He was
that
so-
destroy your career?
No, but he was very upset about it because when he saw it
He's
back.
like, oh man,
later,
you're
like,
right.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah,
it looks crazy.
yeah, it was. It was crazy looking, and I think
He's not a positive person then. I would have made a shirt that had like foil for the mouth, for the lips, like shiny lips, Kennedy.
to do it even bigger
Yeah,
and
like,
worse.
there you go.
When I was on, we were
That'd be a
doing
cool
way
nickname,
more.
shiny lips.
Whenever Hillary was running for president, I kept asking Hillary, please, somebody from her office call me, because I have some really good hints for you guys in what she's not doing correctly. And it's like nobody's telling her before she walks out on stage that her lipstick is on her teeth. And that is when she's wearing that real red lipstick and it would be on her teeth and she would start talking.
Well, clearly
That's
she
not
wasn't
good.
taught at an early age how to put lipstick on or how to prevent that. I feel like there's a technique out there. Like some grandma knows a technique of how, like, this is how you probably put lipstick on.
Well, you're supposed to take some and do that with
But I
it.
don't think that gets it off your teeth.
If it's
'Cause-
on there already, but I'm saying like so that it doesn't get on your teeth, you're supposed to do that. And I don't think she did. But and then the other thing was that the pantsuit she would wear, you never wear two different colors. The top and the bottom should not be two different colors.
rules
It
are
should
meant
be
to be broken.
one color, and then that makes you look a little more slender. And so I was trying to help. I was trying to help her, and no one called me back. So I just thought, well, forget about it. And then she lost. So
That's right.
there you go.
That's absolutely
But everybody's trying to get her to think about running again, and so maybe she's starting to do a
exciting.
lot more press and publicity, and so
That's good.
maybe that's going
Maybe
to
she
happen.
get another body double. Or I remember that. Kind
Yes.
Of, like that conspiracy. I was like, man, this is great. People are wild.
They did because that's right. I forgot
Well, no,
about
what
that.
I love. So I was thinking about this because I know you like reading the headlines and the political stuff, and so
Yes.
you know how this in the past I would say like what 10 years, maybe less, is like how crazy the press is with certain people. And it's like, I can't wait till we finally get political candidates who are just normal people, but they're going to be put into the blender of the media because they're so used to doing all this kind of like, I would call it slanderous kind of stuff.
Oh, brother,
And
yeah.
it's going to be hilarious watching these normal people to try to like figure it out. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, on Twitter 20 years ago, you liked this tweet. Well, did you know that tweet, the guy who made it 50 years ago, he
Right.
did this? And I'm like, well, wait, what? Like, what?
If they could come up with a law and say, okay, anything that you said 20 years ago, we'll forgive that. But if it's 5 years ago, no, you're going to be held accountable for that. They need to do something like that, because it's ridiculous when and what we have to go through while they're trying to impeach people for something that they said or did, years and years ago. But like Joe Rogan,
We're not really good at impeaching people these days.
Well,
We're really not. I mean, there's a lot of impeach talk all the time, and it's like,
I know, but they never follow through, and they get bogged down in it, and then and people don't want to
people
watch
get
it
paid to do
anymore.
that. Isn't that great? Like, can you
Yes.
imagine that one congressperson like, do I really have to be on this committee? Like, I don't want to waste my entire 6-month period. I could be doing something better for my my district. And it's like,
Yes. Well, that's what I don't understand, is that we have to pay for those stupid trials that they go
I
through.
like it. I mean, it's a process.
Oh.
You gotta respect the process, Cindy.
I know, but you don't watch it, do you? You
I
don't
watch it. I listen to it. That's what I'm saying. It's
You
know,
do.
You know, there's one person there going like, "Why are we doing this? Like, this is
Yes.
the craziest thing." Like,
Yes.
I got put on this committee because I was the last person to draw the small straw. You know, it's like. But then there's other committee people who are like, they really want to be in it because they like to be,
But
on
it's
TV
just,
or something like that.
I don't know why they think they're good enough to
I think
do
I
that
think they're
and
great.
portray the stupidity of why they
love
got
it.
into this. You love that part?
Well, it's the
Well-
country. That gives you an idea of who's running.
That's, I mean, that's
any,
true.
Any tech conversation in the government's the best because they're talking about
Oh,
stuff that
yes.
they have no idea.
They
anything
no
about.
idea. Oh, whenever they bring on, what's his face? Zuckerberg, and they
Do you
want
even
to
know
talk
his
to him.
first name?
Wait,
I don't even know. I can't think of his first
Mark?
name. That's probably it. But I was like, at the top of my head, I'm like, yeah, Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg. I think that's it. Well, look it up. You're sitting right in
Probably
front of
Mark.
me.
Who
Okay.
cares?
Anyway, but when they had him come on, it was like a long time ago, and they wanted to find out what an algorithm was, and so
That's what I'm saying. Like,
he's trying to
Well,
explain.
even today, like people think AI is real, but it's
Artificial
it's-
intelligence.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
there yet. But like, especially like TikTok is the worst
Yes.
because. And I'm gonna shout out to my wife. Like, she watches TikTok, and then she starts trying to tell me stuff she saw on TikTok, and I was like, that's not real, right? Like, that's not how it works. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And then I explained to her. She's like, well, I can see why people don't understand that. I'm like, but you believed it for, you would have believed it if I didn't tell you.
Right?
And she learned it from TikTok.
But give me an example.
Well, like example would be AI. So you know how all these people are like, oh, look what AI drew, or look at what AI wrote. Mm-hmm. You ever seen those things like those
No.
prompts? It's like, oh, we fed this information to this AI database, and this is the picture they drew.
Oh man, no, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
so
that.
that's kind of a thing now, and it's what it is it's not AI. It's not coming up with its own artwork. What it's doing, it's basing it off of what you told it to do.
Right, and see, and always when they were talking about the computer coming in,
Yeah.
I remember that and them saying it's going to take over, and it will create its own personality, and it'll create. And I was like, how can that be? It's got to be fed data.
That could be the argument of like what a personality is, because it's just something that's been fed data, in a sense. And
Yeah.
then over time, it starts doing its own thing, but it's going to be based off something else.
Right, it's always something else
Yeah.
that feeds it, and it's got to be fed. And people act like it can take on its own, and like the robot that's walking around your house is going to become.
But it could. I mean, that's kind of what babies are.
But they're
Like, you feed the baby these ideas and this culture through your family, and then that baby uses all that and becomes its technically own person.
but they're programmed in the womb. They're being programmed.
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
With
So,
all
I mean, you have to ask the question, like, what is life?
and when
So
that baby's
technically, the AI we just said it isn't AI. Could be. I mean, if you want to argue it,
no, it would never.
because that's what we do with babies.
No, and a man can't have a baby, So don't even say that to me.
I'm not even saying men are having babies.
Huh?
I'm saying that's how we raise our children.
No, but
we feed it information.
I mean, this becomes the next step, and they say, well, men can have babies. And you saw that lady, and she was being interviewed, and she said yes. And when you say that men can have babies, you're hurting a big population of people and stuff. But men cannot have babies. What they're saying,
could they though? I bet you there's some weird.
No, if a
Ripley's
man,
believe it or not, kind of thing that happened. Like someone was born in this weird thing, and then the common medicine wasn't around, so they couldn't fix it when it was born. So it's like it got both organs or something. I bet that's real.
I think what they're saying is that a woman changed her sexual identity to a man.
Eventually that's what's going to happen, though, right?
And she gave birth, and they said it was a man that gave the birth.
I like it.
You agree with that? You think that's...
go for it.
Oh, Richard.
Well, when I said men can't, I can't. I'm not capable. Maybe I am. I don't know. I don't dream big.
No, but number one, you wouldn't want to. Number one, you wouldn't want to go through what you had to go through to have a baby. You couldn't handle it. The pain would be too much.
100%.
You'd be screaming and it'd be, and you don't have to have a period every month. So that's what I'm.
But you don't know me. Maybe I got something else going on. You don't know me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do you
don't try to say
identify
you
as?
have more problems. Come on.
but as a woman, so that you can have a baby, you have to go through this.
I hear it every day from my wife.
Every day.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, but you have to, at that time of the month, you need to be very sweet and kind to her and bring her chocolate. And that's all you need to do. And then you'll be
I tell her, why would you treat that one time special? Why don't I just treat you special every day?
Oh, that's so
there you
sweet.
go. Let's shut it up
I
real
think I'm going to
fast.
cry. That's a great answer. That's really good. I'm going to write that down. That was really good. But it's Samuel living with his sister and his mom and me.
Yeah.
Not
I
anymore.
grew up in
me.
a house with sisters.
But he said, I don't know why men ever get married, because they have to put up with this every single month. It's not like once every 6 months.
The way he looks at it.
But he said,
wrong perspective.
He said, and I shouldn't even be knowing about this stuff, and I shouldn't even have to be talking about it or dealing with it. It makes him so mad.
Wait till he encounters a complete stranger going through it, and then you're kind of like in the room with it, and you're gonna freak out about it. I remember that happened in high school. Some poor girl, it happened to her, and I was like, you need go to the bathroom, and but I wasn't like, oh my god, so
You mean because that you saw it?
I saw what was happening. I was like, hey, we need to take care of this.
We need to take care of this. And so it wasn't the teacher or somebody that came to her aid?
I was the first one who saw it.
Okay, so
I was sitting next to her, and I was like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, and I'm like, hey, we gotta.
Have you been shot?
No, it wasn't that. I was like, I think you're on your period. And she's like, what? Yeah. So we need to. I go, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, get some towels, come back, and I'm gonna hand them to you. And then you're gonna get up. You're gonna go to the bathroom, and I'm gonna clean it up.
Oh.
And I was like, and then you got to go to the nurse.
And you did that?
Yeah.
Richard.
Because I knew my sisters. My sisters do that crap.
Richard.
This is disgusting. You're filthy. Get out of here. But there's a nicer way to say it.
That was so sweet and kind.
Well, yeah. Well, that's one thing that's what I love about my wife is she's a nurse, and so she tells me disgusting stuff all the time. And I'm like, I'm okay with it, in some boundaries, like if I'm eating something that looks like body parts, I'm like, I really don't want to hear about this right now. But it's kind of like, to me, it's like people have a lot of things going on. The human body's very fragile. So it's like, hey.
It's so complicated.
Yeah.
How people think that we evolved from an animal and instead of being formed, I don't see how somebody has that kind of faith.
Well, especially with the stigma of that particular issue. There shouldn't be that big of a stigma around it.
No.
So you need to tell Sam to man up and just be useful.
But he'll say it. I'll yell at
Or
Cindy
what he should smarten up and just leave and not worry about it. Be
for
like,
about 3 days.
Yeah,
and
it's like, hey, I know this is going on. If y'all need anything from the store, I'm out of here.
yeah,
I'm outside chopping wood.
that's true. Samuel's so sweet with his sister. They're very close.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
And he'll say, okay, leave her alone. Don't yell at her because, she's on her period, so don't yell at
it's
her.
a great conversation, by the way.
I know it.
great.
I think we're being transparent. We're just being. I tell people you don't know what we're going to talk about. It's
That's true.
all over the place. So we'll get back to
I'm
what.
curious to see how schools handle it because of the uncertainty of like how we treat our students now. It's kind of wild to me if you think about it as like, because I haven't been to a school in a long time, and I was like, I can't imagine being a teacher today. And you have your lesson plan, which now I think you don't even make it. Like someone else makes it, and they give it to you, and you're like, okay, how can I add my
Print on
my
it.
teacherness to this? But then it's like you can't. It's kind of wild to me because I remember like when I was growing up, the teachers were almost like your neighbor,
Yeah,
like treated as your neighbor, meaning like, oh, I need some help, and they always like they talk to you like a neighbor.
right.
Not just someone like, oh, you come in and you collect a ticket and you leave. You're my ticket person. Because you don't really know your ticket, your bus driver or something. Well, some people do know their bus drivers really well. But, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is today. Like, did the kids not even care? Like, they don't even have they just call them teacher? And it's,
No, they do have some kind of relationship with them, but they either hate them or they like them. They think they're really cool, but it's funny because they, said most of the time the teachers are just
over.
reading something and and reading the newspaper and telling them to go online and look at this, and that's what because they all have computers. They walk around with their backpack, killing their shoulders, walking around with these heavy computers that you have to take to every
Or
class
heavy
every
books.
day.
It's always something like that.
There's no books. Nobody.
That's what I'm
They don't
saying.
have books.
You're always
so-
complaining, Cindy.
No, this is true. This is. I wanna see if the district will pay for the chiropractic, problems
How
they're
big are
gonna
these
have.
computers?
Huh?
How big are they? They're like 15 inches?
No, but they're heavy. I mean, they're heavy, and they have to wear them on their shoulder like all
They're not
day.
that heavy. This isn't like a 1995
They're-
laptop.
No, but they're not the slim, thin kind of.
I mean, they probably max weigh 4 pounds.
No, it's got to be. Because I tried to pick up Cindy's backpack, and it was so heavy. And I said, "What do you have in here?" She said, "That's my computer." And I said, "That's ridiculous."
Well, you need to look in maybe there's something else.
No,
Maybe
I
it's their
try.
after school activity stuff.
I give them water bottles, like a water
Probably like
bottle.
it's probably 4 water bottles in there.
I always give them a water bottle though, but it's sad. I mean, that's something that they need to look into. But I think that I think right now we're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back.
Why are we taking a
And-
break?
Because you need to just calm down. You're getting so rambunctious.
I just want to know what because your grandkids like with the teachers and stuff like how does it work now? I have no idea because I only have like one friend that's a teacher and they talk about parent-teacher conferences.
Yes.
But it's more of just like it's not a conversation. It's more of they're required to do it. So it's like they have to have every parent in. It's not I need to talk to this parent because his kid's acting up.
Right.
It's like they have to do even if this kid's a perfect kid. It's like I still have to do every single parent. And I'm like, how long does that take?
They don't care. They don't do it. They don't care.
Well, I mean,
we never
if you
get a call.
If you have 60 plus kids, and then if they're divorced, the parents. I mean, you're talking like maybe 80 meetings.
My poor,
gross.
my poor oldest daughter, who's a teacher, is so mad because of things they put on them. They continually change stuff, and they put new things on that they have to do and all. And she said, I mean, I am getting to where I just don't care. I don't care. They come up to me and ask me stuff, and these are like second graders. And these kids they're really bad. They do bad things, and I don't know what's happened to the kids because whenever I taught seventh graders, they were better than these.
Think about the Tide Pod epidemic we had.
The what?
Remember the Tide Pod thing that became popular on social media? Like kids were swallowing Tide Pods.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Tide Pod, yes.
So yeah, like Look, that's who we're dealing with. All right,
Their brains are messed up.
Those are the people we're dealing with.
And she said, and you know what they're doing is that you can't. If a child comes up and says, "I want to be a boy, and I want my
You're all
name to
about
be
this.
Daniel,
I can tell.
and I want my name to be Daniel," the teacher has to call
Yeah.
him Daniel,
That's not a problem.
or they'll get in trouble.
Yeah, I don't see why. How's that an issue?
That's because she can't remember
Well,
everybody's name.
What's the difference between that and like me wanting to be called Dick? Even though on my name it says Richard, it's
Right.
like, but I want to be called Dick.
But you're not wanting to be called
But it doesn't matter though. It's the same idea. I'm asking. Rachel.
You don't want to be called.
But if I
you're
wanna-
not wanting to be a girl and be a different name with a girl's
What does it
name.
matter what the name is? If someone goes, "Hey, can you call me by this?" The same thing as me going like, "Oh, don't call me William. Call me Billy."
Okay, that's like a nickname. That's fine.
But William and Billy have no connection to one another in the pronunciation. So
Oh.
it's like, what's the difference between calling me Sarah and Richard?
Because you're a Richard, you're not a Sarah, and
Well,
so
if I want to
she
go
has
by
to.
it, I don't see what you're so upset about this. It's just a simple name request.
But you're not a teacher
Now, if I
with
was a teacher and
30 kids, and all the kids want to be different sexes,
I
and
just
they
call
want to
them
be.
it. Or
No,
you.
she said.
Just
She said
call you.
the only thing I can think of is call them by their last name, and that was
That's
it because
fine,
they're not going to
yeah.
change that. So because she couldn't remember
Yeah,
their
that's
first
fine.
name,
There you go.
and if
She
they wanted
figured
to
it
be,
out.
I know, I was so proud of her. But that's ridiculous.
But I
though.
don't see a difference between if someone requests like, "Hey, my name's not William, it's Billy. Can you call me Billy?"
That's
To
fine.
me, that's exactly the same as, "Hey, my name's William. It's not William, it's Sarah." Like to me, that's the same thing. And it's like, all right, cool, whatever.
No, because then you're feeding into it. I mean, that's my opinion.
Oh.
Is that I think that you're feeding into that ridiculous thing where they want
Well,
to.
they'll learn real quick when they go, in the world, and like, "Hey, call me Sarah." A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, why?"
When your 5-year-old comes to you, 4-year-old comes to you and says, "My teacher."
We have more important things to discuss, Cindy.
Okay.
In our classroom than worrying about people's names.
But they
We
do.
got to do algebra here.
No, we got to do math and reading. We've got to bring the math and reading up because
We
we're
got to
so
talk
bad.
about book burning, book banning. Like my conspiracy theory is it's the books because they don't want they don't want hard copies.
But true.
So
I mean,
they're
that's
trying
true.
to just get rid of books in general. They're trying to get rid of libraries. They hate librarians.
Oh yes,
Hate 'em.
yes.
Okay, so it's like we gotta get rid of libraries. How are we gonna get rid of Let's just put these books in there that will upset some moms. And it's like then we'll just get rid of the library. Library will be finally gone, which is great.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll move on to the digital world, and then we'll take over. We'll have complete control of everything.
But you do believe that it's wrong to have books in there that are showing
I think they should have everything. In there. Just go
kids.
for it. I mean, you got the internet. The internet's far worse, and I
But-
think. Well, see, what's interesting about it, Cindy, is I imagine throughout the decades that the responsibility of the librarian has changed drastically.
how?
Meaning, because the librarian and the system they install is kind of like how things get checked out, what's appropriate. It's kind of thing like in Harry Potter. Remember Harry Potter books? They all talked about oh, those are the book. We still have books here, but they're chained up. Like you can't get these books because they have crazy spells. Same idea, but so it's up to the librarian to be like, all right, this is where these books are. So we have to manage these books a special way, opposed to oh, you can just come in and get these and walk out. So
Yeah.
there you go, problem solved. And now they have a record of you checking out those books.
Well, they kept them
So that's
behind
what
the
I'm saying.
counter. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the big deal?
Like my girlfriend and I, Phyllis, would go into the 7-Elevens and tell them that they're going to have to take those books and put them up where the kids can't see them at the eye level. And we would go in there. We were like,
7-Eleven.
And they go
You mean
like-
the nudie mags?
yes, that they had to take. They had them out, and the kids
Yeah.
could see them. And so we told them they're going to have to put those
Isn't
up.
there, I remember being something like they had to put them like a black folder in front of it.
Not in the beginning. They were out there.
Yeah,
And
we'll
you'd
figure
walk
it
in
out.
there and you'd
It's
see
a
it.
process, Cindy.
It
But
was,
I mean, the book
was
burning is something you want to do. I get it. Like you want to burn
No.
books, and
something that's filthy is they put in there.
I like
Oh,
it.
it's just terrible.
but
And
again,
you-
I think it's the librarian kind of dictates how the process works there. And if you don't want to have those books there, then because I wonder what the power the librarian has. Because say this wasn't an issue for moms or whatever.
Yeah.
Say the librarian's like, I really hate Michael Crichton. Like, he's the worst author. He sued my mom, whatever. Could she go, we're not having Jurassic Park in this house?
Maybe she could.
I don't know.
Maybe she thinks like his writing was too adult, and
It has nothing to be an
it was
adult. It's
suggestive.
Maybe
Didn't like
she
him.
didn't believe in dinosaurs. So she's like, we can't have this book. No, I'm asking. I'm kind of curious.
How much power that they have?
Well, yeah, because to me, it's like they're the one that sets up the system, right?
No. They get books from Austin. It's the very
Yeah, but they get to say how the library's laid out, don't they?
how it's laid out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, how they lay it out.
Yeah, so if they took all the books that were, questionable, and they put them back in the back, and then that kid had to come ask for it.
Yeah, there you go.
And they had to call their parents and say, could your child have this book? That'd be different. But they wouldn't do that, would they?
Or they might be doing it somewhere.
No, because
Somewhere.
the teachers in one of these schools are secretly helping these child have a sex change.
I love that kind of stuff because it's like, can you imagine the conversation that started that? It's like, don't tell your mom. Like, if I met anyone and told me not to tell my parents, I'm like, what's going on here? This is weird.
But wouldn't you be very upset with the teachers if they were trying to make it where your child could change his sex without you knowing about it?
The teacher's like, hey, I know your mom and dad don't feed you. Why don't you want some food? I mean, I can see the parents getting upset about that.
Well, of course, but and the teachers have to deal with that. I mean, that's what's so sad is that they know that this child has not been fed, so they get them food. They'll go get them food.
It's like, I know you believe in Muhammad, but we can get you some bacon. If you want some bacon.
They can't do that. They
Why
get
not?
in trouble.
Same
They
thing.
get in
That's
trouble
the same
doing
thing.
that. What do you mean it's the same? How can it be that same thing?
Well, the teacher's doing something against what the parents want. And the parents say they believe in, or they might be Jewish and they can't have pork.
But maybe they would
the
just be
teacher's
appreciative
like, this
because
kid needs pork, man. This kid needs bacon.
yeah, maybe they're appreciative that they were feeding their child though. That'd be different. But I want to tell you something that I know all these subjects that we've been through. Y'all have learned so much, but in Conroe, they're going to have this is so cool. This is an event that the firemen are putting on. Have you ever seen this?
Is it a calendar shoot?
No, it's not a calendar shoot. It's where you are going to experience, you'll get to feel what it felt like for those firemen to walk up as many flights of stairs. 110.
110?
110 flights. And they go up 4 flights and they come back down and do this like
Yeah. I know what you're
20
talking about.
times.
Some of my friends, it's like an annual thing.
It sounded great.
Yeah.
It's so that's coming up on the 11th. But you can experience that, and they said you can put the full garb on that a fireman would wear and feel how heavy it is, and try and make that walk. And then firemen come to it too, and do the walk as to commemorate the September 11th. And so I thought that was such a neat thing for Conroe to do. I love that. And
I'm guessing participation's going to be low.
why?
Because I don't think anyone wants to walk up 110 flights
Sure,
of stairs.
they said for exercise enthusiasts, this is great. If you want to do steps,
Challenge.
and you can come and work out clothes, or you can come.
And they wild card you on like step 50. We're going to turn on the fire, so you better get up there.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Maybe they don't want it to be that real of an experience, but they just want what firemen that would run towards something.
Some of those the people who who first responded to the towers are probably thinking like, we gotta go up all these stairs. They didn't think of this when they built this. And it's like, okay.
Well, that day.
I feel like that's a New York thing though.
No.
Like, I imagine if you go to, you become a firefighter in New York, they probably expect you like, hey, you really do have to, because we have these tall buildings here.
Yeah.
Like you gotta, most buildings here are 50 stories minimum, so you gotta figure this out.
Be able to run up that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like here, you'd complain because there's only 6 stories in the Conroe Tower, and it's like they're not getting step training.
Yes, that's true. But have you ever been to the the firemen's training center?
I've seen it happen before, where they like burn stuff and how to
Right.
certain different types of scenarios about how to put out fire.
We had
But
to go.
nothing about like, hey, if you park in front of this fire hydrant, we're gonna break through your windows.
No, we went and videotaped the training, and they had where they went down the rappel down the down the building, and that was very cool. And then they do the burn stuff,
Yeah.
and then try and like how they got to put it out, and it was so interesting, and you have so much respect for those guys for just some of the stuff that they have to go through every single day. And that's why I do want to do, because the first responders and the policemen and all those that are first responders, just to honor them and us have some people on to talk about it, because I love them, and I just don't understand, boggles my mind how they get to that point of wanting to do that. But I do want to tell everybody that this weekend's going to be beautiful. There's no rain in sight, and it's going to be amazing.
It's gonna be
And
nice.
so you're going to go to the show. What?
It's gonna be nice.
It's going to be nice. Now I'm going to tell you about. You ought to go see this movie and go inside where it's dark and cold.
What movie?
But it's called The Barbarian, and it's nothing like you think it's going to be. It's not about barbarians. It's not about an Arnold Schwarzenegger type of thing. It's about a woman who has rented a house, and she's driving and trying to find this house, and it's raining, and she goes and knocks on the door, and this guy opens it up. No, she doesn't knock on the door.
It's called Barbarian, not The Barbarian. It's called Barbarian.
Barbarian. Yeah. And so she's trying to open the door, and when she opens the door, there's this guy standing there, and he said, "Who are you?" And she said, "Well, I've rented this house." And he says, "Well, I've rented this house as well. So why don't you come in and let's try and find out what the deal is." And it's so bad. It's so scary. The trailer was scary enough.
So you saw it?
I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
Did you see it? I'm
looking at it right
Oh
now.
man, yeah, it's good, because the producers of It, The Grudge.
Yeah. You wonder why people don't
And
trust
the-
strangers.
Imagine
What kind of
renting
scenario
a house.
would it be out? It's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just leave and go find somewhere else.
Yeah,
you're
instead of
already
going
inside.
in like, well, how sweet of you
No,
to
she
ask
probably
me.
goes, oh, he's cute. It's
He was cute.
Yeah, he's cute. That's what I mean. Same thing. The role was reversed. Oh, she's cute. I'm staying here.
Yeah, no. So I don't know if he's barbarian or not, the barbarian, but something's barbarian, but in it, and it's good. It looks like it's really good, and the producers of all these different, movies that scare you to death, it's there. That's called Barbarian. The other one is The Invitation, and The Invitation it's just a romantic. These two people got dumped and how they got together, and it's about a wedding, that they go to a wedding and end up together. So it's really cute. I mean, it's probably been done 50 jillion times, but this one looks really good. Looks like it was good quality and all that. So anyway, those are the two opposite type of movies. And I think we're about ready to get out of here. So you've been listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, and Richard got to participate today. So now you know why I don't let him talk very much. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Richard, for all you do. I really appreciate you, really and truly. And first responders, we love you, but you know what? God loves you more. You guys have a great weekend. This is, Friday's Eve, and so y'all have a good weekend and enjoy yourself. And we'll be back on Tuesday at 2 o'clock live on YouTube. See ya.